Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Big Apple Hockey as we are in seventh heaven or seventh hell. I guess we're going to find that out on Monday because, after all, the New York Rangers were able to force game 7 last night with an impressive effort. And for everybody that was expecting this in game 4, yeah, this is what it should have been. But sometimes credit to the Devils, credit to everyone that's involved, because the other guys get paid too. I always use that line, but it's this truly is something that I just can't help but marvel about. I, of course, am your host, Mr. Mark Williams, and we got a lot that we're going to be talking about today. B-Rye is already revving to go. Let's fucking go. That's right. I have to tell this story first. And actually, let me, before I get to the film clip I'm about to show. Curtis Lazar scored the first goal of the series right there. And actually, David, I'll post a poll question in a minute. I forgot about it. So why don't I do that right now? So the Curtis Lazar scored to give the Devils a 1-0 lead. And last night at the bar, I walked past my girlfriend who was there, my very lovely, nice girlfriend, and just looked at her and just said, she goes, "You're not shaving it off yet. Don't worry, you're not shaving it off." I mean, it is amazing what has happened with this team in the last 2 periods and even period and a half. I'm going to get to my notes in a second. Let me get this poll question for everybody. Sorry to waste anybody's time watching this live right now. This might be a bit of a layup. I hope it's not, but first off, everybody, thanks for joining in. Steven, great to see you. I think I might have a stat that might surprise you because I got to tell you, it surprised me. And I was shocked when I saw it, but I'll get to that in a moment. Just adding in, the poll question is going to be, who is most crucial for the Rangers to win tomorrow night? And feel free to write in some votes on this one, but here we go, guys. And David, thank you very much, because when I'm not on the ball, it's always good to have people to have people calling me out. So thank you very much. Sheldon Keefe is the only coach alive to have won a playoff series with the Leafs. Oh my God. Oh my God. Steven, how about this one? John Tavares ended the Islanders' 23-year playoff drought. He then ended the Maple Leafs' 19-year playoff drought. Has there ever been a player to have ended 2 19-year or more playoff droughts with an overtime goal? I gotta safely say it's probably nobody. All right, let me get to some of my notes first. Because I gotta I'll get through my notes. Always check out Big Apple Hockey Podcast. We have blogs coming up. I'm actually recruiting writers, so that'll help. You can always get a Big Apple Hockey Trucker hat, which is down below. We have this one or a white background that's right there. They look amazing. And as always, I promote it all the time. We're powered by SeatGeek. Hopefully, I'll be using these to go to Carolina as early as Wednesday. All right. But last night, the New York Rangers beat the New Jersey Devils 5-2. Game 7 tomorrow night at 8:00. Sorry about the cough, everybody. We didn't think we were going to be here. I know we got a lot of guys that are saying it. Mo Deans was saying it to me before, saying, "I told you so." I'm like, look, you know what? That's why I got to play this clip and just let you know this. great movie, The Two Towers.
Forgive me. I was wrong to despair.
Oh, I'm sorry. God.
Forgive me. I was wrong to despair.
There we go. And that's exactly the way it goes for that, because after all, you know, I was in despair, especially after the Lazar goal. I kind of thought, here it comes, but it didn't. And it's sort of reminiscent of the 1980 Miracle on Ice when the Russians scored first. And the next thing you know, Buzz Schneider scored on a long slap shot to beat Tretiak. And you knew that game was going to be completely different. Now, granted, I was 1.5 and not cognizant, but just going with historians and everything else. We're going to have full season breakdowns for each team, the New York Rangers and the New York Islanders, to end their season. But let's get to this. Chris Kreider, his 6th goal of the series. Now, before you even ask, Yari Curry had 11 goals, and I think it was against the Chicago Blackhawks in a series. Talk about having a series. There's been 3 players that have had 10, 11, and 2 10s and 1 11 goals. Chris Kreider tied Marc Messier for 4 goals facing elimination. And how about this one? And Steven, I think this one might shock you because it shocked me. Lindy Ruff has never won a Game 7, and that's where they're going. So the Rangers 5-1 against elimination in last year's playoffs, now 1-0, obviously. And the Rangers attacked the slot. 4 of the 5 goals from the slot. Kreider's deflection off of his shin pad. Zibanejad going glove side in the slot. Tarasenko's shot in the slot. And then Barclay Goodrow tipping it home. Look, that's what the Rangers need to do. Attack the slot. The Devils are weak there. And especially now, one thing I've always said is Nico Hischier's done, and Jesper Bratt as well, but they've done a good job stopping the cross ice pass, the Royal Road, as one of Steven's friends, as Steve Alcat always says. The Rangers need to keep attacking that area because that's how you win. Just that simple. You always say, because I put it in quotes in here, and I didn't see it in there. Oh, 4 or 5. Yeah, here it is. It's right here. It was the one in front of me. Sorry, guys. I'm not on the ball. I've been limited on sleep. I'm only going to about 5 o'clock today because I have a game tonight at Dix Hills. But you got to attack the house. That's from the net mouth to the dots up to the high slot and across. Any Canadian coach will tell you that's the house. I always called it home plate, but then they corrected me because I was wrong. but here's the big headline of the night. Kira Schmid was 24-29 on shots, 8.28 save percentage, and he was chasing the third period. Why does it matter? Now, it doesn't in this particular case, and I'm going to tell you this. It doesn't matter Akira Schmid. I think Akira Schmid is going to come back, and I think he's going to be mentally tough for this game. Perhaps. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's Braden Holtby circa 2013 when the Rangers beat him in Game 6 and then whooped his butt in Game 7 because you don't know. But why does it matter what happened with Akira Schmid? Because now it's that the Rangers believe they can beat Akira Schmid. This is a team that scored 2 goals and was shut out in the third game. And now they can actually attack Schmid. He's got a weak glove hand, even though, by the way, he made probably the save of the year with his glove hand. And now they can actually attack him and do this. Now, the Devils are not going to go quietly. You got Jack Hughes, still a great player, although he's been playing the wing more in this series. I don't understand what's up with that. Then you have Nico Hischier, who's come on a little bit, but still really hasn't done any goal scored. Jesper Bratt's been completely silent. Those are things to be wary about. But the big thing is, and I didn't make a banner for this one. Let me just go right back to this. That goal and an assist might be the biggest goal and an assist for the Rangers. Look, we all know Artemi Panarin is not a playoff player, and he did play a pretty good game last night. However, Mika Zibanejad waking up is big for the New York Rangers. His first 2 goals of the series last year was in Game 6. And what happened in Game 7? When the chips were down, Mika Zibanejad tied the game at 3. This is tremendous. They got to get him going. Chris Kreider facing elimination, no big deal. The guy's done it 9,000 times. Let's see, 2013, he had the game-winning goal against the Bruins. 2014, obviously, he had a great game against Penguins in Game 5. And then 2014, the Stanley Cup Finals, he actually had the goal that tied the game in Game 5. That, by the way, that series should have been much longer. It already was 6 games to begin with, but that's a different story. And I'm going to be getting to your comments in a minute. I'm going to be done with my notes in a moment. But this was a huge game. And tomorrow night, I am not looking forward to having 2 darts games while trying to analyze this game and provide the best coverage for you for Tuesday morning, win or lose. But that's where we're going. And it's going to be a hell of a time. Game 7 last year, Artemi Panarin had the game-winning goal in overtime. I believe that was Panarin's only goal of the series versus Penguins. I think he had one more. Obviously, you guys could correct me with that in the comments. But this is big because I think there's an opportunity here, especially with how pucks bounce tonight. Because God help the world if the Florida Panthers win Game 7. Because now that means the Rangers need to win. There's an opening for the Rangers. There's an opening for the Maple Leafs. There's an opening for the Hurricanes. All those teams could possibly win a Stanley Cup. And you look over at the West. The West doesn't look that strong. Dallas Stars, I'd probably say, is probably the strongest team out of anybody that's out there. I mean, who knows? I mean, Stuart Skinner can't even clear the puck out in front of his own net. He broke his own stick, and I forgot to put it in. I think it was Philip Deneau. And it was like, I'd love to keep this beard for another 8 more weeks, guys, or 7 more weeks, whichever one it is, because this would look great. I mean, it doesn't look as good as yours, Steven, but is what it is. All right. That's going to be the end of my notes, everybody. I'm going to start getting to your comments right now. Everybody. Sorry, a little bit of a burp. Everybody, make sure you leave us a like. And also make sure, if you haven't done it, subscribe and hit the bell for the other notes. Granny, by the way, thank you very much for your comments today on Twitter. It means a lot. We put a lot of effort, me, Phil, and Anthony, into this, and every single day this is growing, and it's growing because of all of you that are watching. So please keep on hitting that like button, and also keep getting us bigger and bigger. I mean, we've had a lot of great guests. I love to talk pucks. That's what I love to do. And a matter of fact, that's why I've kind of ignored everything else. Like, there's a great basketball series going on right now with the Knicks, though it just started today. It was a bit of a bad ending for the Knicks. But the Mets, obviously, I always love to talk to Mets in baseball. But there's so much good stuff in sports, and we love to talk hockey. Number one, me, Phil, Anthony, can't help it. Fortunately, I knocked over this can of soda, but it's closed, so it's okay. All right. Let me move myself up a little bit over there so that way everybody can see the SeatGeek thing. Let's get to some of your comments. Then I'm going to start right from the top again. B. Rye is saying, let's go. The Rangers are a different team with the lead. Yeah, well, any team is a different team with the lead. The Rangers can actually come back because remember, Keith, they had to come back in this game. And all of us, all of us worried about that. David saying, kind of disappointed that Tampa Bay and the Leafs are not going to Game 7. Again, Sheldon Keefe is the only coach alive to have won a playoff series. Wow. You know what's funny is I asked people this trivia question. Who was the only person to win a Stanley Cup with the New York Rangers and the New York Islanders? And a lot of people say to me, what, somebody was around from 1940? You know, they won the Stanley Cup 10 years later, idiots. But David saying, I'm glad she understood that you were saying my girlfriend, because I would have thought I was telling her to shave. Well, it is 2023. I'd be telling my girlfriend to shave. No. Fortunately, she's a great girl. And 4 more hours on the road. I got time. Great. When trailing, Jersey opens up, which leads to more offensive chances for the Rangers. Yep. The easy answer is the Russians on our team, both in overtime. Yep. And both in game 6. Akira Mead. Core, I don't know if that's as much of a layup question as you think, because as much as you want to say Igor Shesterkin, and everybody right now is saying Igor Shesterkin, and you can see it right now. It's in my my range of the camera. Although I'm going to tilt that just a little bit because I always like getting the Chris Kreider picture behind me, and me and Phil at the All-Star game last year. But I do have to say, Steven, I gotta highlight this one for after we're done, because the Bruins question is gonna be huge. I don't know if that's a layup. Core, because I think Mika Zibanejad would have my vote. He's got 9% so far. Mika Zibanejad would definitely be, if he's alive, the New York Rangers are winning game 7, and it's going to be a rout. That's how much I think it is. Mika Zibanejad is what has to be done. Now, by the way, B-Roy, you're right about this. Akira was exposed. Actually, that's what I had to do. I forgot to do it all day. I got to get the picture of, I think it wasn't Tessuro. For anybody that's a fan of anime, Akira Schmid, he's named because Neil went through the whole thing. I was like, was he named after Akira? Yeah, he was. Anyway, Akira, one of the greatest anime films of all time, where Tessero's not Tessero, because it's his friend that explodes. It's been 15 years since the last time I watched this movie. I apologize for being about that. I got to get that meme up there. Anyway, John, hey, thank you very much. I'm going to say the Rangers win game 7, and I think it's going to be like 4-2. I think the Devils get a late goal. I think it'll be 4-1. Sort of like what Dawson Mercer did last night. Again, David saying, I saw something, a white black, because there were less rounds when the Leafs won their cups. A while back, not white black. I could read good. They have never won more than 2 rounds in Leafs history. And if you know that's true, yeah. Actually, wow, I did not know that. So, yeah, Marty, he is not. Well, the dead giveaway is he's not sleeping with his sister-in-law. Anyway, hips do lie, Shakira. Cora, that's a good one. I like that. Who starts game 7? That's a great question. I think they got to go back to Kirishmin. If it's Vitek Vanacek, then the Rangers were winning this running away. Vitek Vanacek has never had a save percentage over 900 in the playoffs. Ever. I can go through his game logs, but he's never had a collective 900. That was one of my big things about the goaltending. Vitek Vanacek might be better next season. I don't think he's good right now. And I think they caught lightning in a bottle when it comes to Schmid. But the Rangers could attack the slot the way that they did. This series is over. No, it ends tomorrow night anyway. So it's a little bit of a all-American rejects right there. Steven is saying, correct, the Leafs had never reached the Stanley Cup final in the post-expansion era. And prior to that, pre-1968, they were all 2 rounds to win it all. Yep. And Keith, 100% right. Then I shall die as one of them. There is nothing to apologize for, Legolas. Remember how in Clerks 2 they described Lord of the Rings? It was incredibly accurate. David, I love Lord of the Rings, but yes, it was incredibly accurate. The best is when Randall drops the ring and then goes. Has anyone seen Artemi Panarin? You know what? He did helped to facilitate that Braden Schneider goal. Look, the Rangers are wedded to Artemi Panarin for another 3 more years. They're going to have to figure out how to do that. The reason Mika scored, not where they expect him. Well, you know what? I think right there, I think that was more of a grinded out Mika goal. And he just got it, whipped it top shelf. As my brother was saying to me, hey, Schmid's got a weak glove hand. And he does. He does have a weak glove hand. I don't know if he's exposed just yet because keep in mind, Lindy Ruff's a good coach. He's going to try to fix that hole. But on the other hand, I mean, Lindy Ruff's never won a game 7. I was shocked when I found that out too. But it is true. Modine, you did come on last night to say, or yesterday afternoon to say, the Rangers are winning this. We got this. Yep, you did say it. I got to hand it to you. See you at game 7 if the Rangers clinching win. Yes. Most power play goals in his series. Chris Kontos with 6. By the way, Steven, former New York Rangers draft pick, Chris Kontos with 6 in the 1980s in 1989 semifinal between the Kings and the Edmonton Oilers. That has to be with him being on the Kings, I think. I mean, I have to look. Chris Kreider tied with 2 others and tied for second, 9 other players, 5 power play goals. John Weber, hey, welcome back. Kreider has been the Devil's exorcist. And by the way, I mean, it's not like he didn't have 2 goals against them the last time these 2 teams played in 2012. He was their best. He was their, I think, their most prolific goal scorer in that series, if I recall correctly. He was tied. I know. I think Callahan had 2. Yeah, I think Mike Rupp had 1. Jesus, that was game 4, I think. The Bearded Baker, by the way, visit him over in Brooklyn. He is still waiting for his hat. I'm sorry, Rob. I keep trying to get together with you, but once again, you can order the hats from the eBay link below. Last night's NYR had 5 high danger chances, including slot, breakaway, rebound, etc. The Devils had 10 such chances per clear sight, according to analytics. Yep. And that's you just need to fire them out. And then look, Igor was great last night. He wasn't. I mean, you can't fault him on the Dawson Mercer rebound. You also can't fault him on the Curtis Lazar rebound. If there's anything Ranger fans we could all be excited about and be happy about, and I'm going to use the word "we" in this one because I am a Rangers fan, and that's Igor Shesterkin and Henrik Lundqvist. They really are 2 of the best goaltenders facing elimination ever. So, just be saying, Mika waking up last night was a key. He's streaky. The Devils shouldn't be happy about that. Lauren, how's it going? Harry Kane's doing. They're resting up and looking up. They got that popcorn ready. So hopefully, does Florida get it done tonight? I'm gonna come back to that one, B-Roy, because Steven posted about a win earlier. So, or another question earlier, I should say. And yeah, you know what? Kind of rooting for I'm rooting for Florida. Does it matter? My brain is saying something different, but we'll get to that in a second. If the Rangers win tomorrow, I have serious worry about the Rangers playing on my wedding day. Oh man, Steven, I hope that's the case, and I hope that right when fortunately, your very lovely fiance, whom I've met, she's fantastic. She'd understand. You probably can't reschedule because of everything that you're doing for it. But yeah, it's yeah. We don't need Boston in the playoffs, but Lauren, I gotta tell you this. I think that's the reason why Boston's got problems, because the problems are in net. Well, I think about this, and I made this comparison to 1996. The Detroit Red Wings had the greatest season, arguably in NHL history. That was back when ties were around. They were tied with the most. They had the most wins in NHL history. The Red Wings tied them, and I think Boston just surpassed them. But the thing is, their goalie that year was Chris Osgood. Chris Osgood was not ready for the playoffs yet. Like, he was good. He wasn't great. St. Louis took him to 7. And I forgot who they played in the first round. It might have been Winnipeg that they played in the first round, and they waxed them. I forgot who it was that they played. They waxed them. But it wasn't like a 4-0 sweep. Steven, correct me on that one if you put it in the comments. I'll go check that out in a minute. But then they face Colorado. And you're talking about facing a guy who's never won 16 playoff games before versus Patrick Waugh, who's been to I think it was 4 Stanley Cup finals by that point. You look, you saw what it takes, and you got to have the mental know-how to do that. Granny is an all-time great. I agree that. And you all do great. I share whatever I can. Thank you, because I appreciate it. Because I'll be a little selfish. I put in a lot of hard work on this channel because I'm fortunate to have 2 of the other great hockey voices that are up, and we have guests that come on, like Steven, like Neil, who was with me this week for Devil State of Mind. He was great, and everyone's so nice. Thank you, Warren. I can't believe it either. Especially last night, that game was tailor-made for the Maple Leafs to lose, go back in Game 7. But you know what? Again, John Tavares win another Game 6 overtime winner. All right, Crispy Bacon. By the way, that is a great name, Crispy Bacon. I don't count Igor as the most important. That's because he can't score goals. We know he'll do his job, but will Mika do his? Great question. I'm inclined to say yes. Mika gets going. Mika's like, I don't know about you guys. My golf game is all about my confidence. And if I'm playing well, I can't wait for the next hole. If I'm playing poorly, I dread the next shot. Right now, Mika's got to be feeling like he can't wait for the next hole. All right. By the way, Guntote and Granny saying the USA just won gold. USA. And I saw that I left early, but I saw the shot by Eiserman, which, by the way, is so weird to say Eiserman with the guy spelled EISER. I think it's 2 N's, MAN. Anyway, but Cole Eiserman, that looks like he's going to be a hell of a player. Kid's going to be a number 1 draft pick before you know it. And again, you are correct, Just Bait, because after all, Greg Gilbert won it with the Islanders in the 80s and won it with the Rangers. Still talks about that. Rangers have to hammer Akira Speed out of the gate and let him get confidence. You know what? I'm not sure if I kind of alluded to it yesterday. I'm not sure if that's going to be important because as much as it is, like the Rangers fell behind 1-0 last night, and it could have been devastating to fall behind 1-0. I thought it was. Zibanejad gets the goal. Tarasenko, Zibanejad off a Kreider, on the power play, ties the game. Zibanejad gets the goal and give him the lead. Tarasenko right after that. I think Vladimir Tarasenko is going to be very important tomorrow. Gallant is actually most important if he actually coaches and makes the necessary in-game adjustments. We will win if he tries to motivate by moving one guy to a different line, then there were trouble. And I agree with you on that. It can't just be line changes. I borderline snapped at a friend of mine last night because it's like, oh, Gallant's a good coach. I'm like, no, he's not. He's just operating on. He's not doing anything with scheme. Look, is he an X's and O's mastermind? Of course he's not. But that's what we could see about him. And David is saying, if the Devils are smart, it would be Blackwood. It totally throw off the Rangers. Jesus Christ, if it was Blackwood, I think I have a chance of starting more games for the Devils than Mackenzie Blackwood does. We need a king goal tomorrow, but honestly, just win. Chris T, by the way, always good seeing you. And Igor will shut him out in Game 7. I'm not exactly sure about that. If it was Henrik Lundqvist, I can guarantee this. There's no more than 2 goals going in the net. Because after all, Henrik Lundqvist has got to have, and Steven, sorry to put you to work, but Henrik Lundqvist has to have like the lowest Game 7 goals against average in NHL history. Because after all, he shut out the Capitals, and aside, Tampa Bay and Washington were 2-goal games. Other than that, he's given up 1 goal or less in every Game 7. A player being named Christopher, Greek for bearing Christ, bringing the salvation against the team called the Devils. I'm not being religious, man, but that is something that is great. That is a comment for the ages. I think the Schmid love fest was premature. Igor has been more impressive and has stopped more quality chances. To be right, this is where you're right, because the Rangers made him feel too comfortable. And this is where sometimes I say the Chris Kreider standing on the side of the goalie, not in front, is actually a good thing, because if he's standing right in front of Schmid, that puck whistles by and it's off the glass, maybe back out of the zone. Instead, Kreider's off to the side, hits off a shin pad, it's in the net. And do you think Schmid is now uncomfortable and have the Rangers gotten in his head? I'm going to not say that yet. I don't think it's look, again, Ranger fans, let's go back to Henrik Lundqvist. There's been many times in the playoffs you've seen Henrik Lundqvist get shelled. And what did Henrik Lundqvist do? Took a break, mentally speaking, went back in the net, and shut the door. I've seen him do it too many times. I still think the most impressive Henrik Lundqvist playoff feat was games 6 and 7 of 2013, because he led up the overtime goal to Mike Green in game 5. And then the Capitals didn't score the rest of the series. And it's not like they weren't the highest scoring team in the league at that point. So think about it like that. Yada, hey, good to see you good to hear from you. It's been a problem. Sorry, it's been a minute, because I'm reading on the next one. Modines is saying it right there. That's the $1 million question. And yeah, I don't think they're in his head. We'll see tomorrow night. Make him uncomfortable. Get him at his feet. Shoot it at his glove. Just, those are all the things you have to do. Can the Devils limit those chances away from him? That's another question. Team defense. Modine is saying the problem for the Bruins is that Florida scores a ton of goals. They were 6th in the league. The Bruins need to tighten up defensively and bore themselves to a win. I'm going to save this one. I'm going to come back to it just in case if I need it later, because we're going to talk about that after we talk about some more of the Rangers. I'm going to 5 o'clock today, guys, because I like I said, I got a hockey game tonight myself. And Just Me is saying, if it takes a coach to motivate his players for the playoffs, he's got the wrong players, or do they need a different sport? Well, I agree with you. You know, it's the playoffs. Tighten up, listen up. But you know what? I think where he's got to motivate is just to get him to loosen up. That's the thing. It's getting your focus down. It's not a matter of getting your energy up. There's a great expression from, because I was a would-be actor years ago, Konstantin Stanislavski, the Godfather acting, where he was at a theater. He was in a rehearsal, and the director said, "I could bring your energy down. I cannot bring it up." And that's just what it is. All you got to do is take all that energy. The coach has got to bring it down. And I think that's what Steven's getting at right there. Gallant honestly doesn't seem to coach much at all. He often, how often do we see an actual in-game adjustment? That's been the problem. Even between games, his go-to move is line blender, and it's frustrating, and I agree with you on that. Hank will not give up more than 2 goals unless it's against the Lightning. And by the way, Hank doesn't give up those. In game 7, he gave up 2 goals. If you told me the Rangers could have just scored 2 goals, that would have been it. Yada's saying, yeah, good to be back, my friend. Work has been a bear. Glad to catch the stream tonight. Well, glad to have you. And always, it's good to have everybody else right here. State of survival, state if the Rangers get booted for the playoffs, whose head will roll? I'm thinking it's Gallant's. We were talking about this yesterday, and yes, we're all in agreement. It's probably Gallant. You look at the Drury moves on paper, You telling me Chris Drury acquired Vladimir Tarasenko, Nico Mikkola, and Patrick Kane, and he gave up 1 first-round draft pick if they get booted tomorrow. Of course, if they make the conference finals, it's 2 first-round draft picks. So I honestly think that if this team wins tomorrow, it's tremendous. Steven is saying right here it's not about motivation. It's about players needing a game plan. Yeah, talent is great in hockey, and hockey IQ is great, but you need a game plan and a tactical plan to execute as a team. That is 100% correct. Because after all, look at the other side of it. Lindy Ruff is all about tact. He's all about the tacticians. Having a good tactical game plan. He'll run in. There was a great story about him at the All-Star game in 2006, running and going, "This is the way we're going to break out, guys. We're going to do this." And all the players looking at him like, "Are you out of your mind? It's an All-Star game. None of us care." But that's how much energy he brings. Now, is he a great communicator? That's what's left to be desired. You're talking about a guy who's one of the winningest coaches of all time. Now, by the way, I still say part of that has to do with Dominic Hasek and Ryan Miller, but still, we'll see about that. I don't think he's got the goaltending. I think this is closer to his Dallas days when Kari Lehtinen and Anthony Niemi were the 2 goalies in Dallas, and they couldn't get it done. And by the way, of course, good point. Well, because come on, you think Steven brings his B game here or anywhere else? And where our for life is saying, second question I have, do you think that New Jersey has the advantage going into game 7 because they have home ice, or the Rangers are too good on the road? The 3 best road teams, I think, outside of I'm checking the standings just to make sure I give you guys this. Just so that way everybody knows the best away records in the division. The Devils lost 9 games. The Rangers lost 9 games. They are too good on the road to just go, oh, they got that. Boston lost 8 games, and that's it. So the only team ahead of the Rangers and the Devils for the road are the Bruins, and it's only by 1, and they had a record-setting season. By the way, both teams, they lost 13 games at home. That's it. I think the Rangers being on the road has nothing to do with what they're thinking. B-Rye is saying Lightning are done because beginning of Vazzy and the team's downward spiral trend. I can't stand Cooper's mug. I got to tell you, if John Cooper was the Rangers coach, I would love him. I do think I think he plays the media so well, and I think he's a good tactician, and I think he motivates his players. I'm trying to figure out what the bad side of John Cooper is. Being an opponent, I can understand exactly what you're saying right there, B. Right? If the Rangers were able to get Cooper, they'd win for sure. Yep. Yeah. Like, you know what goalkeeper's saying it best right here. Cooper is a legit lawyer. That's what he was doing. He was, and then he coached a junior team. So, all right. It's 4:37 right now. I'm gonna go for about another 22 minutes because like I said, I got a hockey game tonight. Everyone right now, 38 votes are in. 82% is saying Igor Shesterkin is the most important player. I will still contend it's Mika Zibanejad, but let's keep voting on it. I'm not going to close that out just yet. By the way, an underrated guy, not getting any votes, Adam Fox. Adam Fox, who had 2 assists last night. Now I got 8 points for the series. He had, as Steven pointed out, more points than Wayne Gretzky in his first 2 playoff games. And that's funny, by the way, Steven. That's funny. Well, let me just say, he's a legit goalkeeper saying a legit lawyer. Cooper is a complete coach for sure. Yes, he is. Goes to war for his guys, as Cora is saying, but this is hilarious. Has anyone ever looked at John Cooper and noticed the similarities between the sketch of DB Cooper? That is absolutely great. It is eerie. And Gordon Bombay. Gordon Bombay comparisons right there. Is it unrealistic to hope for Sullivan at the moment. It's Gallant still has a job. That's the best way to say it. How dare you besmirch the name of Gordon Bombay? Yes, because after all, if Gordon Bombay didn't blow a .01, no, it was a .0, no, it was a .1. I forgot what I for a bartender, I forget about blood alcohol levels. So but I think it's a .1. The NHL great moments with I forgot Charlie's last name. Well, just Joshua Jackson on the penalty shot. What if Bombay didn't blow a .08? Oh man, I gotta actually see that because a quarter of an inch and it would have been glory. Quarter of an inch, you would have missed the entire net. If you take the goalie out of his pants, just shoot it into the empty net, coach. Thank you, Charlie Conway. My friends met Joshua Jackson when they were backpacking in Europe. They met him in Prague, and then they met him in Barcelona. They were trying to convince him to go to the running of the Bulls. Shannon is saying the Rangers also controlled the pace of the game last night, which was crucial. Correct. If they do that tonight, which is really tomorrow, they'll win without a doubt, hopefully. See, I thought it was always .01, but they did lower it, so thank you. Sorry, .1, I should say, not 01. Any event, yeah, I forgot about Charlie Conway. Which, by the way, when I was in Buffalo, I saw a Mighty Ducks autographed jersey. I walk over and I see there's no Joshua Jackson, no Jesse Smollett. I'm like, nope, I am not buying it. Although I did buy an Eli Manning autograph picture when I was in Jersey for them. No, they didn't meet him in Dawson's Creek, and they couldn't wait for their lives to be over. Yes, okay, that's a Paul Cole song. Took me a second on that. Shannon said, Rangers. Well, yeah, it's the same thing you said a second ago. Gotta give me something new, Shannon. Give me something new. Fox is amazing, of course. I just can't see a scenario where Sesty isn't the most important player on the ice for the Rangers. With the style of Rangers to play, his value is nearly off the charts. I gotta say, Shesterkin was absolutely fantastic in Game 5, and a lot of fans might want to rip what happened. Look, the Devils, it looked like it's amazing what sports does. It's amazing what every day. This is the reason why you need to go live every single day of your life as best you can, because I thought the Rangers were done. I had my hopes, but as an analyst, I thought the Rangers were done. And then what happens? They end up giving up the first goal. Oh, great, here it comes. They tie the game. Okay, there's life. They end up taking the lead. Yes. 3-1. Yes. 4-1. Yes. 5-1. We're playing game 7. Dawson Mercer scores. Oh, take this seriously, but you can always change the narrative. Know that about not just hockey, sports, know that about life. You can always change the narrative. There is the philosophical moment of the day. And we could put the rainbow over me that says the more you know. So, and yeah, some of the guys, you got to keep the faith. And Steven, you were saying that yesterday too. Do you think it was a smart move by Ruff to pull Schmid or the show they let them in? I actually do think it's a smart move. I think you get him out of there. You just tell him, hey kid, it wasn't your night. Don't worry about it. And then that's it. Oh my goodness. B-Rye, if this happens, that's the NHL. Look, if the NHL would absolutely shoot like a fire hose. Now, granted, the least would be 0 for the ratings in America in their home market, but at least they would still have Austin Matthews go in there. You have so much star power in that series. You're talking about Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, John Tavares. You'd already have let's see. 4 number 1 draft picks in that series. Kane, Lafreniere, Tavares, Matthews. I'm trying to think if there's a 5th. And I think the Rangers got 3 of them right now. Why am I blanking? Anyway, that would be a crazy series. That would be great. And David, you're right about that one. All right, Steven's got these numbers for us. The Rangers 3-5 in Game 7 on the road. The Devils are 3-2 at Game 7s at home. No, I did say Kane. I did say Kane, Frank. And by the way, Frank, welcome to the show. And Steven, if I recall correctly, the first ever Game 7 on the road they won was 2013 versus the Capitals. Because I think they won that one. They won versus the Penguins in 2014. Carolina last year. There we go. If it's Rangers Leafs, the Leafs would have home ice, of course. They overturned the Hedel goal in the final game. You know what? Yeah. If it comes down to a disallowed goal in a meaningless game, sure. I take the Rangers on the road anyway. I'd rather have the Rangers be on the road. They're a better road team. The Rangers are 23-13-5 at home, 24-19-8 on the road. I think they just do better on the road. Matador saying, I wish they had home ice. I know it was it's at the Rock, but to win 3 on the road is near impossible. It's a tall order, and it's the same reason why I did say this. If you thought the Rangers were going to lose last night, I did, and that the Devils were going to sweep the home the MSG games, I think it was going to happen. And well, lo and behold, is what happens. 18 of you have liked this so far. 38 are in the chat right now. Everybody, thanks very much. Make sure you are leaving us a like on this. And of course, you know what? I haven't brought it down a little bit, but let's bring in the hand of God. Oh, appease the YouTube gods. So, and by the way, of course, Marc, MARCs, banded together for life. Steven, I got to go back to your comment that you made about tonight. I had to get that one, but I'm going to read out these 2 comments first. Steven is also asking, can we also take a moment to laugh at the fact that the Lightning scratched a player who they traded a first, a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, and Cal Foot for? Ouch. Yeah, actually, we can take a laugh at that one. That's a big miss by Breezewall. David is saying, everyone, even the NHL, are confused about what a kicking motion is. Yeah, I agree with you. And I guess the Rangers could have lost an OT, but if the Rangers won that, it would be the tiebreaker. NWR for Life is saying, notice that the Rangers are shooting high on the glove side on speed. Sometimes they find a weakness and then they exploit it. They need to get into the slot like they did last night, as I was saying before. So wait, let me go to this one first. Let me go backwards. Steven was talking about this. The Bruins are going with Jeremy Swayman over Allmark and for Game 7. Frank's, I don't know if you guys saw it. I put it on our Instagram this week. But Frank Cervalli was saying, when are teams going to get away from the antiquated notion of using only one goaltender? And you got 2 goaltenders on your team. You got to make sure you use them. All those metaphors, those analogies. Here's the thing. There's 2 positions in sports you do not mess with. You do not mess with the quarterback. You do not mess with the goaltender. And you can apply that to soccer too, even though the soccer goalie sees 8 shots a game, and that's like a lot. The problem with doing that is, as soon as he lets in a goal, he might not think that he should have let in. Jeremy Swayman's going to do this. You can't let that happen. That's why you have to say, this is why, you know what? I'm a believer in the Mike Keenan thing. You're my goalie. You're in net. That's it. Now, did he overdo it? I mean, hell. Here's a good trivia question for everybody. Who holds the record for the most consecutive starts in NHL history? And it's one of those things you need to let your goalie know you got it. Now, in this particular case, as what Steven's saying is, Swayman and Allmark are all very supportive. I would not be surprised if Swayman wins this game and they go back to Allmark in game one. It's just not going to happen. The Islanders did something similar to that in 2021, where Sorokin basically beat the Penguins, and then he lost game one. They went back to Varlamov, and then he ends up winning the series because Varlamov was not a good matchup for the Penguins that year. He just wasn't. But that being said, these guys are supportive of each other, and they've talked about their bromance the entire time. If Swayman just goes in, does his job, and then vacates the net for Allmark, that's fine. But what if Swayman loses? That's the other thing to consider, especially when you're the coach. And maybe it'll kick everyone else's ass into gear to make sure they're defending and buying out well. We always talk about that when it's the number two goalie. Oh, why do they try harder for the number two goalie? Because the number two goalie isn't the number one. That's the reason why. It's very simple. Mike Richter made saves Glenn Healy couldn't. Henrik Lundqvist made saves that Marty Biron couldn't, and so on and so forth. It's not quite, say, Jockerman and Willem Muir, who are a little bit more contemporaries of each other, even though Jockerman was the best one, and who they shared the Vezina Trophy in 1971, if I recall correctly. 71, not 72. I think it's 71. But that's those things that they need to do. Now, I wouldn't want to have to answer questions if I'm Jim Montgomery if the Bruins lose. Jim Montgomery, I don't believe he's won a playoff series either. You have to make adjustments. You have to do these things. And if Gallant pulls this off, I'll be shocked. Because I promised I'd go back to this Modine comment before, which is the problem for the Bruins is that Florida scores a ton of goals. They were 6th in the league. The Bruins need to tighten up defensively and bore themselves to a win. Yes. But if anything, you got a guy like Matthew Tkachuk that will not let that happen. Matthew Tkachuk is, I mean, he's coffee. He's chock full of nuts. Which, by the way, I still don't want to say why they call it chock full of nuts, but that's a different story. I mean, coffee is usually grinded, even though I know it comes from a coffee nut or a coffee bean, whatever. But still, but no. I mean, it's just Matthew Tkachuk is just he won't let that happen. All right, let's get some more of your comments right here. Allmark might be hurt. That is what I was hearing. And again, I go right back to that comment right there. And I use the same thing with quarterbacks. If you have two goalies in the playoffs, you have none. That is 100% right, Steven. And bye-bye Kings. I'll never get over them taking our cup away. Yep. Steven is also the king has a question mark. Oh, well, a swing and a miss. I'm an expert on swing and miss jokes. Don't worry, Patrick. And Yada say the pressure is entirely on Boston here. Florida scores first and only increase. I would not swap a goaltender at this point. Yep. Allmark might be hurt. I think B-Roy was asking about Lundqvist because I think I said Lundqvist somewhere in there. But looking back, but still. Anyway, this is a baseball where you can have a relief pitcher come in the middle of the game. What a nonsense by Sir Valley. Yes, because as you need a goalie to be so arrogant and confident. Think about what Patrick Waugh used to always say. One of the best stories is when he walked into the locker room in '93 in the last overtime win against the Canadian the Kings, And with the Canadians, he goes, boys, don't worry. I'm not letting another shot in. Go out and get the game winner. Not only what he does with his own arrogance and confidence in saying, they're not getting one by me, he calms his teammates down, and then they don't have to, as I've said before many times, squeeze sawdust out of the stick. And that helps. Didn't he pull Richter for Healy and the stick Richter back in? That was during the Garden, the Coliseum game in March of '94. And yeah, I think Healy promptly let one in, and then he just pulled him again. That was one of the weirder things I've ever seen. But that was a game they ended up winning, and I think it broke a 5-year jinx at Nassau Coliseum where the Rangers couldn't win. It was a long time going. I can't remember exactly what that was. I wish I had Felk here with me right now. If the Bruins lose and the Devils win, I'm putting money on the Devils to win the whole thing. That's what DP is saying, but B-Rye is saying the Devils are not winning a cup. Neither had the Blues here. Yeah, and you know what? That's right. Mike is saying I want the Panthers to win. I would. You know what? I want to see new things. So yeah, I would love it if the Panthers won. I did not like the move Keenan made when he pulled Richter. See, that's the one I think you're really thinking of. Game 4 versus in the Eastern Conference Finals. Basically, he conceded the game. He pulled Richter for Healy and then benched Messier and Leach for long shifts. The other thing is, if people remember, Keenan cited injuries for the reason that happened, but then there were no injuries to report. What happened? The Rangers turned in a pathetic performance in Game 5, and that's when Messier made the guarantee. So, Marc is also saying all Marc is sitting tonight. Yeah, you know what? Sometimes B-Rye, you put the money on him just for the odds. Hell, I had my money on I had Filipino score the first goal in Game 5. Filipino's a guy we have not heard about in this series. That's something to be very concerning about. Not so much as in like, oh no, what are they gonna do with Hedel? He's obviously re-signed for years. But Hedel hasn't really imposed his will. Watch out if he puts one in Game 7. Steven saying, can you imagine if Keenan in 94 going Glenn Healy in Game 7 versus New Jersey? Yeah, I agree with you with that laughter. Okay. All right, going for about another 5 more minutes here, guys. So I'm going to try to get to all the comments right now. I have a question. Do you think they're going with Vanacek or Smead? I think they're going back with Smead. If they go to Vanacek, you might as well book the trip for wherever you're going golfing. Vanacek is not the guy, and their defense and scheme were responding to Schmid. I think they took him out to give him a mental reset. That's what I think it was. I don't think Montgomery has ever been in a playoff series either. I'm not sure if he got to one with Dallas. I don't think he did. That's a good question. And where for life is saying is he thinks that Schmid is going to be in net. Even if the Devils win Game 7, they don't have a goalie, and I don't think they'll survive another round. But the problem is, do the Hurricanes have a goalie? Because here's the other question. Where is it? If the Hurricanes, and they're in almost the same position as the Devils. However, there is one thing I want to say. Is that the Hurricanes almost don't seem to care who their goalie is. I think it matters who the Devils goalie is. Steven, we're going to have to figure out a good collab again. We'll have to get all of us together, me, you, and Philk. I love it when we do our junior collab. I just haven't had the time. Like, this is sort of impromptu. That's why I was there. But we love you. Can't wait to do it again. If Boston loses tonight, is it the biggest choke in playoff history? No, because that will always, as far as NHL goes, it's always going to be the 2019 Lightning. They were swept. They were swept by an 8 seed. Last night, did anyone notice that Messier looked pissed when Subban was talking about was talking to the post-game show? Thought he was gonna reach over the table and punch him. I'd pay money for that. Look, I actually like PK Subban, but you know what? No, I think he's been kind of a little bit. He's got to find his groove as he's a rookie analyst. He's got to find that. He's got a great personality. San Jose beating Detroit in round one was bigger. I would say that so because I mean I think that was San Jose's third season in the league, and they made the playoffs. Arturas Irbe in '94 doing that. Now, also Detroit being upset in Game 7 by Toronto in '93 was also pretty big, but not as big as San Jose. That's an expansion team. I mean, you can run right down Dallas, not Dallas, Vegas. Vegas knocking out LA, I think, in 4 games, if not 5. He says with an upwards inflection. But anyway, so once again, Steven, going back to this, yes, hopefully we'll be able to collab soon. Hopefully I'll be able to see you before the wedding. You're more than welcome to come on down, and you can meet the missus. And also I could kick the mic stand or the camera stand. Anyway, as far as the third line goes, I think Kako has been the best of the 3. I do think Kako's been the best of the 3. That has been true. And Chris, thank you very much for joining. 24 you guys have liked. Thank you very much. 31 now, 30 of you in the chat right now. So it has been a hell of a good day. Yada saying that makes sense. I was always pissed when PK speaks. All right. And Davey is saying, I get that PK is trying to be entertaining. I think he is less and more. He's all right. Let me give it a different angle. How many people don't like Bissonnette on TNT? I mean, you look at TNT's with the personalities they've assembled there. That is a hell of TNT compared to ESPN. And no offense to ESPN when I say this, even though I do have to say, I think their coverage is a little bit lacking. I think they might need to revisit how they do it. I think the problem is they're trying to be TNT. And also, thank you very much, and Wear for Life. So because I think they're because Bissonnette's been the lively one. You got Anza Carter, who's the analysis guy, and they usually have a third guy that's in there. Obviously, Liam McHugh, who knows how to host a post game show very well. And by the way, Mike, going what you're saying right there. Yes, we are spreading the BAH virus far and wide. A friend of mine has been taking these to Boston. Guys ask him about it, and he tells them to watch Big Apple Hockey. And we just need to appeal to more of the league-wide fans. That's one thing we have to do. But they've been doing a great. I think TNT has been doing a great job. I think they're fantastic. Everything that they do, whoever they bring on, whether it's Malesko, whether it's Jennifer Bonnaroo, who's doing a good job, whether it's again Kobe Armstrong, Kobe Armstrong. I forgot his name. I think it's Colby Armstrong. He's done a good job. I think I screwed up his name. I'm sorry. But again, Yandel's good when he's on there. He had a great story about him going on a 2-on-1 with his then Coyotes coach, and it's Wayne Gretzky, and he looks and he ends up shooting, and Wayne Gretzky goes, did you grow up with the TV? Yeah, you might want to pass that puck. He might. I don't know if Liam was all around. I did not see that, David. I did not see that. And that's going to be interesting. The problem is that they go with the big players who have the personality of a sack of potatoes in the studio. That is true. It is called, all right, it is Colby Armstrong. Because unfortunately, the one thing I remember about him was he was traded for Marian Hossa. And when he was on the Maple Leafs, he faked that he didn't get a concussion. That's what I did remember about him. Roger Nielsen's Maple Leafs beating the 78 Islanders was a major upset. I think you're right about that. I still think no matter what, when you talk about Tampa Bay getting swept, yeah, that's the biggest. And another random saying, Panarin still hasn't scored. Yeah. And I don't recall. I think Panarin did have a goal. I think it was in game 3. Yeah. No, he did. He sniped one in game 3 of the Penguins last year. Not this year, guys. No, he still hasn't scored, obviously. But Panarin obviously getting the game winner in game 5. That was right. Now, by the way, Ferraro, we had Ray Ferraro on. If you guys haven't seen it, check out our interview with him from about a year and a half ago. He was more than gracious, and he was a fantastic guest. Can't wait to have him back on again. Once the Devils establish a goalie, they are a dangerous team. That's a big question, and the question is, really, is Vitek Vanacek going to be that guy? Mary Lynn, how we doing? Let's go Rangers. All right. We're actually at 5:04 right now. Let's start. I'm going to play the music. Let's start getting in the last few comments for it. So it's good that I don't have to play this one to describe last night's game.
You blew it!
Sorry. It actually should have been this much louder.
You blew it!
But I mean, not naming a goalie, that would be
It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
But still experiment with more of those. But let's get to Bye Bye again by Phil Antonucci, the talented late cousin of mine. So let's get to the last few comments of the day. Let's close out the poll too. A lot of you are saying Igor Shesterkin, but Mika Zibanejad was starting to rise up the ranks a little bit. He's now at 13%. But yeah, Igor Shesterkin is the guy that is the big thing. So I guess Core is right. That was a layup, but I do think, yeah, Panarin. I think if Panarin just could have got it in that last minute, that would have been huge. Just again, you just want to get off this 9. I mean, after all, last year from my team, I had 1 goal, and at that time, I batted it out of midair in between a goalie's legs. So hopefully I get one tonight with the new season that's coming in. So Rich is saying, first, I'm going to get to your second question, which is more important. Why are the Rangers the only team that gets less physical in the playoffs, unlike every other team in the playoffs that gets more physical? I got to tell you, Alexis Lafreniere is hitting everything in sight. They do need to get more physical, though. And Steven's going with the Russian spelling for this. Shesterkin had a .939 save percentage in this series so far. In NHL history, only 4 goalies have a better save percentage and lost the best of 7 series. Let's hope that doesn't happen. 1994 Dominik Hasek, that would be against the New Jersey Devils, I would have to say, because that would be the one he lost, and he had that 73 save game 6. Marty Turco, 2007, I believe he lost to Roberto Luongo in that game. And Braden Holtby, 2015, wow, that is amazing, because that's got to be against the Rangers. And Jake Ottinger last year against the Calgary Flames. Look, those were all good. Hey, Fox only 1%, and I think there was a 1% margin of error. All right, Davey is asking, what happens if the Rangers lose this series? Do you think they're going to dismantle this team? I don't think they're going to dismantle this team. They are going to have to take a hard look at it. Here's one thing I keep going back to, everybody, and saying this. Brendan Ottman's going to be here next year, and he is going to contribute, and he is going to be good, because he fit like a glove when he played in the preseason with this team. So, will it cause any jealousy with Lafreniere and Kakko? I don't know, because right now those guys got to look around and go, what do I have to do to get other chances with this team? Because I think that I think they constantly been buried. David saying, damn, I know the idea you're going live. Well, it was sort of impromptu. I was trying to make sure I did it. I think I mentioned it to you at the bar yesterday. Fox tied in second place with points in the playoffs with me. Yep. And I'd love to see either Tarasenko or Kane, but also I have to ask this question, and I ask it all the time. David, I think he's going to be here, because I don't think they can re-sign both Tarasenko and Kane. And I'm not sure if they want to invest in a free agent. That's going to be big money. And I agree with this 100%. Ottman will be on the first line. You know what? I don't think so. I don't think so. The last couple game 7s, let's see. Rangers scored first against, well, we'll start with just last year. So I'm going for 2015 in my head. And I'm thinking about the Capitals series where the Rangers, Ovechkin scored first, the Rangers won in overtime. I don't know. I thought last night would be the game that the team that scores first ends it. But that's what they're going to have to do. All right. I think you got to let Buchnevich go, buddy. There was no way to get him. Who do you want to win tonight? I like the way Seattle's playing, and I really want them to win. And I like the way Florida has really battled in this series. I'm going to root for both the underdogs in this series and tonight's games. Sure, why not? Let's go with that. And I think Yacht is right about this one. The all-important second goal. Because it's not going to be a 1-0 shutout. We all know this. Well, maybe the Rangers play. I still don't think it is. The Rangers just need to score 5 more goals and they'll win. I hope so. There'll be a lot of shots for... there'll be a lot of Jamesons going down right there. Chris is saying, what was bigger? JT's 2 OT goals for the Islanders or the goal last night for a franchise? I think his goal for the Islanders was bigger, even though they're both the same situation, though. Talking about 2 teams with question marks and that they're fighting for their playoff lives. I mean, I think last night just to get them over the hump. Now, does that help? Does it help Toronto? I don't know. The old expression, you're not experienced until you experience it. Well, since whenever I feel optimistic the Rangers lose, I'm going to say the Devils are going to win 7-0. That is a great idea with that one. B-Rye, they're not going to. It's funny, though. They're still searching for a Booch replacement. Yeah, but the thing is, Booch was going to get paid. He was going to... Right now, he's a center. That's a funny thing. If he stayed on the Rangers, he'd be right there. You're only rooting for Seattle because you don't like Georgie? Yeah. I don't like Georgie. I never liked Georgie. But it's not because I don't like him. It's also, in this case, it's the underdog. Davey, unfortunately, I will not be going live for Game 7. I will be working that entire night. And hopefully, there'll be a very glorious Marc 60-second review at the very end of that. And Daniel, thank you very much. Let's go Rangers. All right. Everybody going to cut it off right there as the music is saying it's time to go. So I got to go nap up for my game. Everybody, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And it's always a pleasure to do this. I'm happy to be doing this. I can't wait for the Wednesday show where I'm going to be with the hockey triforce of me and Mr. Filkowski and Mr. Anthony LaRocco. So hopefully Phil will be on tomorrow night with a very glorious final buzzer. Everybody, thank you very much. Take it easy. And let's go Rangers.